Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to NBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
Hey, it's week 5, and it's a loaded-ass slate. A loaded-ass slate up on this joint right here, man. I'm telling you, okay? We got all kinds of good stuff. We got an SEC party out of Jerry's World. We got a fist fight on Friday night in the Pac-12. Did you know that?
Dude,
we got a Friday night foosball game this week out there in the Pac-12. Deep South's oldest rivalry going on this weekend. We got a potential shootout in Austin. It ain't even potential. I'm going to guarantee it. Shootout coming this weekend in Austin. We got an SEC West showdown out in Oxford. Basically, hey, who's actually going to compete for the SEC title? Okay, the SEC West title outside of Bama. A little game going on like that out there. We got them Notre Dame Golden Domes against them Dukies. It's an absolutely loaded slate. Whew, a loaded slate this weekend. And I'm glad to be here with you. But we do have to start with some actual football news outside of what's going on this weekend. And it's kind of sad news in the college football world. And it's Connor Weigman. Connor Weigman going out this week. The SEC slate at quarterback was already down mega bad. Okay, if you've been listening to us, which most of you guys have been, if you've been listening to us night over night, we did our SEC quarterback rankings last night, and it's not great. There's not a lot of good quarterback play going on in the conference that is supposed to be the primacy of college football. And before I get into any of this, I want to say that Max Johnson, I believe, will operate fine in this offense. Okay, I believe in Max Johnson as a good quarterback. In fact, we ranked the top 9 quarterbacks this week because we couldn't find 10 good ones. Okay, as starters, Max Johnson will probably find his way as the 10th guy. I think he's that good, okay? I don't know if he's great, but I think he's that good. 6'5", 225 pounds. He's a big physical dude, all right? NFL traits, been studying NFL concepts and NFL, football, been studying football for a long time. Obviously, his daddy, Brad Johnson, okay? His brother, Jake Johnson, all right? They got good genes. He is a good athlete and a good quarterback, okay? I think they're going to be fine. But that being said, I thought through 3.5 games, Connor Weigman showed enough to me in those handful of starts to believe he's going to be a really, really special football player at the quarterback position. And when we have those taken off the field, that's sad. I'm always going to be sad about that when they're taken off the field for an extended period of time, which this is going to be. A broken bone in the foot. He is out all year, the rest of the year, right? And it wasn't just the fact that this dude can throw it with anybody, and he can. This dude can throw the football, Connor Weigman that is, can throw the football with anybody on this earth. But when I watched him, I was really, really impressed with the finesse that he played with, the layering of the football that he played with, getting to learn about his really, really diverse athletic background as a youthster, or as a youngster, as you should say. There's a lot of good things in the future of Connor Weigman, and it sucks. It sucks that we don't get to watch him play. I don't think my expectations for Texas A&M change all that much anyways, because, look at the schedule, right? They play Arkansas at Jerry's World this weekend. They're going to need to score, but Arkansas's defense has been hella sus, all right, as the kids would say. Hella sus. Alabama, that game's going to be all about physicality. I don't think it's going to be about who scores 40 this year, as is any opponent playing Alabama this year. If you're going to beat Alabama this year, you're going to have to be able to stand up and punch them in the mouth, or withstand the punching in the mouth and just wait for Jalen Milroe to throw a pick and turn the ball over. That's the recipe to beating Alabama this year, withstanding their physicality on both sides of the football. It's not about, all right, we have an NFL quarterback, let's score 50 today. That's not what that game would have been about, even if Connor Weigman were playing. So I don't think the difference here for A&M really changes too much there. At Tennessee, it's not nearly as daunting as you might have thought going into the season. You would have liked to have a quarterback that's going to be, maximizing your output offensively, but I think Max Johnson's going to be okay there. South Carolina at home, they're a little more talented football team, but late in the season, you worry about their ability to get up for a football game. Shane Beamer is going to be a little, right? The concerns on this schedule were far more, in our opinion, the analysis is not going to change for me at least. I was worried about Texas A&M for other reasons outside of Connor Weigman's play.
Yeah, I don't think there's a game on the schedule you look at now that you've lost Connor Weigman and said, oh, I had them winning that, but they might lose it now because
That's a great way to put it.
They're out of quarterback. And vice versa. I don't think Connor Weigman being out is going to put them over in any spot. I do think this is going to sound bad to say, but it's kind of a win for Jimbo Fisher. Because now you've gotten another net, a security net, because you can say, we didn't do well this season because we lost our starting quarterback. You can further that on. Whereas if you had Connor Weigman and you gave another 3-8 season or underperformed like you have since you've gotten here, you don't have as much to fall back on.
The classic Robert Salah.
Yeah.
Yeah, up there with the Jets.
Yeah, and it's a good thing that Weigman did play well at the beginning of the season for this specific take that you're giving because if Max Johnson came out there and lit it up after Weigman didn't exactly light it up in his first 4 games, and the decision is, well, Jimbo's not even making the right decisions at quarterback and whatnot. Yeah. So definitely a win.
It's a good thing that if I told you right now, one of these quarterbacks in the SEC is going to be the number 1 overall pick, who's it going to be? What quarterback would you say?
Number 1 overall in this class.
Like, you have to project it. In this group right now, one of those guys is going to make themselves a first-round quarterback, top end of the draft. Who's it going to be? My take is it stands out glaringly to me. It's Connor Weigman. I think he showed enough in 4 games, physically, from a physical tools standpoint, making the right decisions as a first-year starter. I looked at it and said, "Puh, NFL dude," immediately. That was my opinion. Okay, these guys in my time doing this, the quarterbacks that make me go, NFL guy. On the college level, they stick out like sore thumbs.
Yeah.
Okay. He was one of those for me. Okay. I'm not saying, it's going to happen. I'm just saying if I had to make a bet, who's a top 5 pick? That guy. That's what it looked like to me. Okay.
That's a fair assessment. Yeah, I would agree with that.
So they don't have that anymore. Now they got Max Johnson, who's the 3rd round pick. I think he's an NFL guy. Just going to be a backup.
Mark Richt's nephew, though.
He is Mark Richt's nephew.
Nice.
Georgia didn't recruit any of those Oconee County kids. Max Johnson, Whit Weeks, Jake Johnson, all of which are starting for SEC programs right now, by the way. Whit Weeks is starting at LSU as a true freshman at linebacker. I mean, Georgia recruited him, but didn't really.
Yeah.
Because of, the class. The class was Raylan Wilson, C.J. Allen, and Troy Bowles. Where the hell was Whit Weeks going to fit in? You know what I mean? Even though Whit Weeks is playing really, really well right now at LSU, doing some dynamite stuff in the pressers as well. The Weigman issue, the Weigman injury is a major one, and it kind of sucks. But you're right. Jimbo gets a little pass here because it's like, our quarterback wasn't that great anyways. But I think the buyouts his pass. I mean, his agents his pass. We know this.
I think like if he was on the verge of getting fired, if this was a make or break season for him, Connor Weigman getting hurt would save him. Obviously, he wasn't going to get fired anyway just because that buyout is so astronomical, but it helps him now.
All right. Welcome into tonight's show. We got a loaded one for you. We're going to do a little overrated, underrated. We absolutely love the slate. We're going to bring you our favorite games on that slate this weekend. Man, I have heard some crazy shit in my day from college football coaches defending their football teams. We got a crazy one coming to you today from none other than that boy Dabo. So we're going to bring you that one. We might play a little What If Wednesday. It's a great show, and it's a great time to be here on this channel. If you're watching, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, and make sure you are subscribing, okay? There's a lot of great content coming out here, not just the live shows, which you should be tuning into every single night, but there's other stuff, additional content available to you guys here as well, whether it be Friday Nights Mic'd, whether it be film studies, whether it be Man on the Street content. Ain't nobody doing it like us, all right? There was a guy by the name of, Hassan Whiteside. That was his name. He had a legendary post-game press conference one time where he had a triple-double with blocks. And he was like, who out here doing it with blocks? Ain't nobody out here doing it with blocks. Who out here doing it like us? Ain't nobody out here doing it like us. Not, I don't believe, at least.
What happened to Hassan Whiteside?
He just fell off.
He was a star for the Heat for like 2 years.
Okay, so here's what happened to Hassan, all right? And here's what happened to the outside linebacker. You ready for this? I'm ready. All right. The outside linebacker got removed from the game of football because of spread offenses. All right. The idea that we were going to put somebody that is 6'3", 230 pounds out in space who normally plays in the box to stop passing routes, we're just going to play nickel. Okay. Hassan Whiteside, this 7 foot, I'm just going to defend the paint. You're nodding your head because you're a hooper. You get what I'm going at.
I get what you're doing.
This is on the fly. All right, so Hassan Whiteside, this big perimeter, or this big presence at the rim, okay, blocking the paint. Who out here doing it with blocks? Well, nobody now, because the game's out on the perimeter. It's playing in space. It's shooting threes. So the idea that Hassan Whiteside is this $20 million a year guy, no, we can't pay him that anymore because he is a nuisance on offense, and now he's getting spaced out into the corner anyways on defense, so he's irrelevant.
You know who else was glamored about during Hassan Whiteside's time? Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert, no longer really relevant anymore in today's basketball game because
Roy Hibbert.
Ooh, good callback to that one. I like
Damn,
that
when
one.
does this become an NBA show?
Who's my man? Joakim Noah.
Joakim Noah, Zaza Pachulia.
Andrew Bogut. He helped out a lot because he was a good screener.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you know.
And
the outside linebacker. It is Hassan Whiteside.
Yeah, the centers that make it in today's NBA for a long time, at least, are guys like Al Horford, Karl Anthony Towns. Guys
Who
that
out
can
here
spread
doing it with basketball analysis? You know what I'm saying? Anyways, overrated, underrated. Let's get into it. How do we want to do this? Who wants to start?
I can start.
You want to start? Throw one at me, or how do we want to do this? No. We're taking a stance, right? I'm going to tell you right now: stay away from Washington, stay away from Florida State, and stay your ass away from Michigan.
Uh-oh.
Is that all of them?
That was one of mine.
He had Michigan.
All right.
have
Well,
Michigan.
hold on. You can take Michigan. Go ahead.
Okay, Michigan's overrated.
Why?
They're 54th in points per game. They're 50th in rushing offense, 70th in passing offense. The defense, that's not a problem. The
Defense stout.
defense is there. Defense
Played
is
a bunch of
more than
nobodies.
national championship caliber. But here's what really gets me. The scoring defenses that they played against: East Carolina, 81st. Nevada, 131st. Bowling Green, 104th.
That boy cooking.
That's overrated.
That's overrated.
Everything that you need offensively to win a national title and compete the playoff, Michigan does not have that right now.
What you're telling me right now on this channel is that Michigan has played a dog shit schedule, correct?
Yep.
And has not played well against dog shit schedule.
Yes.
Okay? But defensively, they're good.
Defensively,
Offensively, they've kind of struggled and been a little bit anemic at times.
Yes.
Georgia's overrated.
I mean,
There's an
Right?
argument for it.
Right?
There's an
If
argument
Michigan's
for it,
overrated,
certainly.
let's be honest. Georgia is overrated.
you could make an argument that everyone in the top 5 is overrated simply because of that.
Except for-
other than Washington,
But
then your argument would be they've played absolutely nobody.
So Washington's 7th, though, right now in the AP
But
Top
here's
25.
the thing, too, about Georgia, is Georgia at least is in the upper echelon of, like, offensive statistics compared to others. Like, Georgia has a top 15 scoring offense per game. Like, they are putting up numbers there. The passing offense is there. The defense is there. The rushing offense starting to get there now. Michigan, on the other hand, just ain't doing it, and they haven't been doing it against teams that are really piss poor.
I mean, that was one of my overrateds, was Michigan and Georgia, because if the belief of both teams right now is off of preseason hype and prior success, which the whole idea of this segment, like the other guys that I'm going to talk about as underrated football teams. Florida State right now, if I looked at Florida State and my argument for them being underrated right now publicly, my argument would be they have the best 2 key signature wins in all of college football. If we are playing a game of poker, hey, give me your 2 best wins. I'm going down right now with at Clemson, neutral site LSU. That's what I'm holding. Ain't nobody beating me in a game of Texas Hold'em in college football right now. So Florida State, for that reason, because of what they have proven in the first 4 weeks of college football, plus week 0, Florida State is underrated. And if that is my process, if that is my theory for saying this team underrated, then those 2 teams we just talked about, Michigan and Georgia, who have not lived up to preseason expectations and prior success through 4 games, they are overrated.
It's a fair assessment.
Math is mathin'.
that's
All
fine.
right? So don't call us homers no more. I think that's a misconception just because we're in this market. We're just underrated ourselves. We had to start in this little baby market that is the Georgia space, and we're just climbing up that NBR space, that national rank space. So yeah, I like your idea there. What do you got?
So mine is far less analytical than Jay Will's. But I think Texas is overrated.
Why?
I think because they're
Graphics utilization chart?
not even that. Not even that.
Tactics.
2 weeks ago, their best win was Bama, right?
Yeah.
That win has lost a lot of shine since then. They've looked flat against USF. They didn't exactly look like a world beater against Ole Miss. They certainly weren't the number 3 team when you beat them. It's still a good win by
Yeah.
all means. But if you take away the Bama win, what else do they have? They flirted with Rice. They flirted with Wyoming. They haven't really killed other teams. So I think people are kind of assuming that because they beat Alabama, because Quinn Ewers is a Heisman hopeful, that they're the number 3 team. I'm not saying that they're not capable of being the number 3 team. I'm not saying they're not even capable of winning the national title. But I do think right now having them at number 3 is a little overrated, simply because of why you've put them there.
But it's a preseason hype, right? And the totality of the roster, right? How much talent they have, and they do have a key signature win.
Right.
Now, the win over Baylor was a controlling win. We're going to find out a little bit more about Texas this week.
Yeah.
Against Kansas, who I think is a pretty good football team.
Yeah,
I would say they're a really good football team.
There's plenty of time to figure out about all these teams.
Yes.
So I think but as of right now, I don't think Texas is the 3rd best team.
I don't see. You're right. And if we're going to if we're going to remain with consistency here, I don't think there is if you're going to bump Texas down, it's because you're putting Florida State over it. I want to hit this right now because we missed Alan's last show. Let's hit this super sub. Alan Berry asked, name the top offense/defense in the league based off what you've seen. The stream ended before you answered. So that's on me, Alan. I apologize for that. I meant to get this last show, and I told Jay Will it's his fault. Just kidding, it's mine. It pops up in big green letters over here. It doesn't over there on his. So that's on me. Let's talk about it. Best offense in football right now, in my opinion, there's only 2 answers. It's either USC or Washington.
Correct.
Okay. And the best defense in football, I think there's only 2 answers. It's either Georgia or Ohio State. Those are my 2. I think those 2 teams are playing supremely, supremely good football on both sides of the football. Any objections? Any thoughts?
I was trying to think of
Who else gets thrown into the hat
I think you
here?
could maybe argue to put Michigan
Defense.
or Penn State for defensively.
I wouldn't say Penn State's got the 11 guys to put up against the rest of those other dudes.
I think it's just more of the way they've played.
I think Ohio State's got 6 or 7 NFL football players.
Yeah.
as they
on
typically
the
do.
defensive side of the football alone. I think their front 4 has 3 guys. JT Tuimoloau, the defensive tackle that wears 52, and Jack Sawyer are Sunday guys. The 2 linebackers have played more football than anybody else in the world, 22 and 35. Jordan Hancock, maybe an NFL football player playing in the nickel. Okay, so they got a lot. They got a lot of dudes on the defensive side of football. Those would be my 2 answers. All right, I want to get one more underrated. You guys have a couple
underrated.
words as well.
Yeah, we haven't done underrated yet.
Okay, look, my polls are different. Okay, I told you when we did our polls Monday. We did polls Monday. When I did my polls Monday, I had Washington at number 2. Considering they're number 7, they qualify as underrated in my opinion. Okay, and here's my take. This is the take that's going to go out on social media. You ready? 2023 Washington is 2022 Ohio State. They are. They are going to score at will this year, okay, in every single game. If you told me I had to take a grouping, right, Michael Penix, Roma Dunze, Jalen Polk, Jalen McMillan, okay, I'm going to take those 4 on par, even keel with C.J. Stroud and his bunch last year. And I know those 4 guys will be invested in with the same NFL draft capital that the guys that were on that unit at last year at Ohio State. So what do you have to be? You have to have a first-round quarterback. I think Michael Penix is that. You have to have 2 first-round wide receivers, right? Marvin Harrison, Sam Ibuka are going to be first-rounders. And then number 11 didn't get to play last year, Jackson Smith and Jigba, right? So there's technically 3, okay, assuming Ibuka is a first-round draft pick. Okay, so all those guys, that's what you got to match. You got to match basically a quarterback who's a first-round talent and 3 receivers who are first-round talent. That's what I think they have. Guys, they score rapidly. They're putting up 590 yards of offense per game right now. And I know they've played Cal and a bunch of nobodies. All right, and I know they got Arizona this week, but they will find out. We will find out very quickly after their bye week who they are. They play Oregon and then a couple of really, really big football games after that as well. And by the way, Oregon's the test for them. As many weapons as they have, I know what Oregon's going to do because I know their head coach. I know what their defense is about. Their defense is what we study every single week on this network. It's Georgia's defense. It's the same principles. And what is that principle? We cover better than you run routes. We cover and get after the quarterback better than you can throw the football. We're going to find out. We're going to find out in 2 weeks about Washington, but I think they're underrated from an AP standpoint. But I know the national takes, like the people who study it and have opinions, loud opinions, they're on the Washington wagon, the people who are watching it, because it's terrifying offensively.
Yeah, I mean, I told you last night what I think about Washington and my comp. So I get what you're saying. You have all the right points of that. I just think they're more 2012, 2011 Oregon-ish than they are last year's Ohio State. Primarily because we've seen this.
Those 6 NFL bodies I talked about on Ohio State's defense that can at least show up. I don't think Washington has any of those bodies defensively.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Offensively.
Yeah.
But we've seen the Pac-12 team years and years, many times, where they start out and it's like, oh my God, this offense looks unstoppable. Mm-hmm. And then by the time you get to week 7, it's like, well, they weren't unstoppable, and now they're 10-2, and they're not
frauds.
Yeah, so I think that's more where Washington's heading. They look great right now. Michael Penix looks like a Heisman winner, but I think there needs to be more time with these Pac-12 teams.
I agree with that. Yeah, I'm not hopping on the Washington wagon yet.
Stay off of it when they get hot, baby. When them Huskies get to rolling, get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. Them's my Huskies, baby. What do you got for me?
Syracuse Orange. Ooh, that's my underrated team.
That is a good underrated
4-0. I know the schedule ain't been great. Cuse, baby.
Cuse.
Look, they're averaging 44.3 points per game right now. 44.3 points per game right now. They ain't played. Let me pull up the schedule.
They ain't played nobody, Paul.
They ain't played nobody.
They ain't played nobody, Paul.
A great schedule, but they're also holding opponents under 10 points per game right now.
Oh,
so the defense is there as well.
They're winning games by almost 7. What's that? 5 touchdowns. They're beating teams by 34 points.
So let's see.
That's crazy.
So they play Colgate, Western Michigan, Purdue, and Army. It could be worse.
Okay, so they played 2 basically real Division I teams, Army and Purdue, and they thudded them.
Yeah, 29-16 Army.
Who they got this week?
Clemson.
Oh!
At home.
Oh, buddy.
At home.
Oh, buddy, and that
dome is a house.
That
of
dome is
horrors
a
for
house,
Clemson.
bro. You're right, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Clemson, they've always had problems there.
They're also tied for 7th for most offensive plays for 20 yards or more. Garrett Schrader, the quarterback, has the 11th most yards of total offense in the entire country right now. So
Them Cuse Orange, baby. How
they're
about
my
them?
underrated team. They are unranked right now, 4-0. We're going to find out about them this
Let
week.
Dabo catch a third
And this
L.
is the thing, too. We're going to know
Internet gonna
if they
go
are
crazy.
underrated because the next schedule is pretty brutal. They got Clemson, they got UNC, and they got FSU in consecutive weeks.
Hey, go 1-2.
Yeah.
Go 1-2. Show me Cuse. Show me Cuse. I like that. That's a good one. You got another one?
Yeah, I think Miami's an underrated football team.
Ooh.
They kind of got love after they beat A&M, but they've been beating the shit out of us. They've won every other game by 30-plus points.
Hey, a lot of Bethune-Cookman, though. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Well, it's Bethune-Cookman, Miami, Ohio, and Temple.
Is there a more comical mid-major name than Bethune-Cookman?
Nevada.
Nevada gets a little
Nevada.
tickle, but
Damn.
just saying it like that, yeah, a whole lot of Bethune-Cookman on that schedule.
Yeah. But it's a lot similar to what we were seeing with everyone else. Is we'll figure it out. They're off this week. They play Georgia Tech. Then they're at North Carolina. Follow that up with Clemson. Then later in the season they go to Florida State. So I mean they're probably going to be a 9-3, 8-4 team.
Yeah.
But considering where they were last year, no one's really talking about how Miami's made a huge step this year.
Were they 5-7 last year?
Yeah, they were with losses to bad losses to Duke and Middle Tennessee.
State.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man. I mean,
shout out to Mario.
shout out to Mario.
Turning it around.
Shout out to the bag man. Shouts out to the NIL.
Shout out to Luigi.
Shouts out to that boy James Williams.
Luigi.
I can't believe James Williams lost the weight required to stay at safety. I was worried about that. If you studied him in high school, he was like 227 pounds at 6'5". And like no defensive coordinator in their right mind is like, yeah, we'll play you at safety. Everyone's like, hey, can you get after the quarterback, dude? Like, you are huge. You know what I mean?
That
like,
hand's going in the dirt.
Dude, when you watch him now, he looks like he's like 214. He almost looks thin. Like when you look at him, you're like, damn, that guy's skinny. And then you look at the roster, like, oh shit, he's 6'5". Yeah, and he's playing a lot of football, a lot of good football. Cam Kitchens is too. I like that tape. Tyler Van Dyke, looking like Tyler Van Dyke of 2021.
Yep.
Fun fact, Tyler Van Dyke, 3rd offensive coordinator in 3 years. Tough.
That's tough.
That is
Got to be wicked smart, right?
I mean, you have to be
Gotta
at that
be.
point.
And is wicked old. Mans is not
wise.
allowed downtown. Can't go down.
Oh, you're too old for downtown?
Too old DT. You know?
Yeah.
A little creepy.
He's got to go to cigar lounges at night now.
I mean, definitely already has a Roth. You know what I mean? He's already putting it back. You know, got a 401k, got retirement plans. Probably likes to fish.
He spends his nights listening to Dave Ramsey.
I like that.
Dave Ramsey, yeah.
Clutch,
dude.
All right, no debt.
None. Can't have it.
Shouts out.
Good for you.
Can't have it.
Anything else we got on the overrated? Overrated?
That's all I had for overrated.
I had one each.
Where are we going next? I think it's only fitting we go to this Dabo quote next. Because this Dabo quote, this is nuts. I've seen a lot of them. I mean, the craziest one's we built this program in his NIL, his name, image, and likeness. Because, bro, he had to read that off Twitter. Twitter was making fun of him with the Joel Osteen edits like 6 months before that, bro. That was wild. Can we get a camera on the Joel Osteen edit?
Yeah, I got you.
Eventually, get that one set up because that thing is funny. The internet been clowning Mans for a minute about all these little crazy ass quotes he be giving, but nah, man, check it out. Send me to the Joels. Send me to the Joel Osteen edit over
terrifying.
there. This thing is terrifying. It looks way too much like him.
Warning.
Jump scare. Watch out.
Hold up, give me 1 second.
This is the only kind of stuff you can get on the Film Guy Network. I don't know if any polished TV network's going to be giving you these things.
The best part is he's right next to Caleb Williams.
Oh, yeah, Caleb Williams in his jumpsuit. Oh, yeah, and right next to that. I'm not going to, so quit asking. We got a bunch of memes up here. Yeah, but there's our man Joel Osteen right there, also known as the Dabo Swinney. But anyways, let's read this quote right here. This is some good stuff. Quote, I mean, these guys, without a doubt, are 3 plays away from being 4-0. That's a fact. And being top 3, maybe 4 in the country, and everybody's telling them how great they are. That's how small the margin of error is when you play championship level football. That's a fact, guys. 3 plays away from being 4-0. Now, here's what I got to thinking. You know, I took a lot of SAT prep. That's a lie. Never did SAT prep. But,
that is not a fact.
That is not a fact, all right? Never once. But I would imagine, I took some standardized tests in my day. This sounds and reads like a goddamn SAT math question. Listen to this. Here, if I put it this way, this quote right here, I mean, these guys without a doubt are 3 plays away from being 4-0. That's a fact. So if it is indeed a fact, let's try to figure this out. Let me read it to you this way. Here are the actual facts. Clemson is 2-2. All right? Follow me here. Clemson is 2-2. They've lost those 2 games by a margin of 28 points. Now, it's important to note that Sally and Jimmy, when they score a touchdown, are awarded 6 points, and the PAT is worth 7. So, knowing that, you have lost those games by 28 points, but Coach Swinney claims that only 3 plays in those 4 games would have his team being undefeated. If I read you that, how in the fuck would you even get it? How in the hell do you go from 2-2 after losing by 28 points in those 2 games? Tell me that it's 3 plays. 3 plays for being undefeated. Guys, do the math, because the math ain't mathing. I asked you to do it. Can you figure it out?
Yeah.
You did?
Do you want me to actually?
No, I know. Fumble recovery for a touchdown. That's worth 14.
Yeah. That's what he's basically saying.
But he's assuming that they score a touchdown on that play.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, yeah. That's kind of what.
Okay, so 1 play. What's the other one? Missed field goal against Florida State. That's 2.
You have, no, I would say it's take the fumble away from the Florida State game.
Okay.
There's
1.
your 7.
The Duke game.
They don't.
Or
no, Florida State
okay,
game.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
win that game. They don't.
Yep.
There's no overtime.
All right.
Take 2 red zone fumbles away. That's a swing of 14 points.
Okay.
So that's what he's getting at here.
So, but again, under the assumptions that when you don't turn the ball over, you are going to score.
That's what his assumption
Even
is.
though they're scoring touchdowns on 40% of their red zone possessions this year.
But I mean that obviously that's his belief. Yeah. And yes,
it's a fact.
You are 3. Yeah, you're 3 plays away from being 4-0. Georgia's 2 injuries away from having no dynasty. SMU is a gold Trans Am away from still being a relevant program. So it's all those things.
Oh, don't.
Do you want me to keep going on it?
Keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, Auburn's a stolen laptop away from not having a Heisman winner. Joe Paterno's a visit to the police station from having all of his wins still. That's all I'm gonna get. I'll leave it.
You'll stop there.
Yeah.
You have more. Are they even touching?
I'll leave it. I'll leave it.
That's the limit. That's where we're not going.
We'll
Good drawing of the line.
We'll end it at Joe Paul.
I got you.
One of them you had multiple. Yeah, one Joe Pod, joke's enough.
Yeah.
You can't go two. Two's the limit. I forgot what I was about to say. I know what I was about to say. When someone says, after saying some outlandish shit, when they say, that's a fact, is it ever a fact?
Never.
Right?
Never.
When have you ever heard of an example, and I would love the chat to give me one of these, someone to just hammer down at the end, and that's a fact. Stone cold lie. Immediately. Red-faced lie. Always.
Gives me very Roy Johnson, Bishop Sycamore vibes. When people say, like, that's a fact.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what, like, bro, you're lying.
Dabo wouldn't lie. It's a sin.
No.
It's just
I don't know. I feel like I'm still just digesting what he said.
Again, it reads like an SAT stat. Clemson is 2-2. They've lost by a margin of 28 points. One score and a PAT is worth a total of 7 points in the game of football. Coach Swinney claims by changing 3 plays in his 4-game season, his team would be undefeated. How? And show your work.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom. I get what you're saying. Whereas, like, if you take the worst case scenario and say, oh well, that was a touchdown drive we had, which I mean they were in the red zone, so I get what he's saying. It's not correct though. It's very wrong.
But like Texas could do this last year. They were 5 plays away from being 13-0.
Yeah, like that's any team can do
This
that.
is football, man. Like, this is why I don't understand, like, instead of taking the opportunity to gaslight your football team and tell them how great they are, why not just say, hey, we're one protection getting picked up correctly by, the running back. I know you don't want to blame kids, but let's be honest about it. It's not just one play. It was a blitz pickup that led to a fumble return for a touchdown. It was a missed field goal, which is also a byproduct of not having a field goal kicker, right? It was giving up overtime touchdowns on fade balls to transfers that were over there. It's a byproduct of stalling in the red zone other times. It's a byproduct of, what about the one possession we didn't score against Duke, right? When we didn't turn it over, right? It's all of these things. Guess what? That's football. That's what football is. And what I love about this is I could turn this on its head. Okay, I told you the other night, the only football team, the only one to have won a national title under the college football playoff era that had multiple of these sphincter-tight sweaters, okay, on their way to winning a national title is Clemson. In his first national title, okay? He had a game against Troy where he barely won. 3 weeks later, he had a game against Boston College where he barely won. 3 weeks later, he had a one-score game against Syracuse. Guys, he was 5 plays away from never winning a national title. So why do this? Why do these types of things? Because I can open up this rabbit hole to this what if. Because guess what? It's the most cliche thing you'll ever hear about the game of football. It is what? A game of inches. It is very much a toss-up. The damn ball's oddly shaped. It bounces weird ways. So how are you going to stand up in front of the media after losing 2 critical football games and gaslight your own football team? Get the hell out of here. I don't like that at all.
Better yet, Clemson's a pick call away from not having the first national title anyways.
Oh, that's the season's what I laid out.
No, yeah, I know.
All kinds of what ifs in this dude's career. Like what if Kirby Smart doesn't call a timeout on punt? What if Jamison Williams isn't hurt? What if? You know who's what ifs all the time? Losers. That's who what ifs. All you idiots on the internet that what if national title winners. That is football. That is professional sports in its totality. Steph Curry's first title. What if this point guard's not hurt? Chris Paul pulls a hamstring. This guy's hurt. It's everybody. What if Jordan doesn't get sick? Or what if Jordan doesn't skip the year? Oh, well, these guys, Hakeem Olajuwon doesn't win his title. What if? Losers, what if? That's who what ifs. Get out of here with the what ifs.
So should we go into What If Wednesday now?
Yeah, we should go What If Wednesday. That might be the best work you've had. In 7 weeks, that's good stuff. Guy goes into a red-faced rant about coaches what-ifing, and then we go into our next segment, which is What If Wednesday, which, by the way, I love. I love What If Wednesday almost as much as Unless It Doesn't Happen. Unless It Doesn't Happen is our best segment, which we're not going to get to this week, okay, because we don't have show tomorrow, which, again, if you're listening to us for the first time right now, we don't have show tomorrow. We're going to do Friday Night's Mic'd on Thursday in Chalkville. So if you're in Birmingham, if you're in the Beeham area, your boy going to be in town, come holler at your boy. Maybe we'll get something to eat because I know that area can't have too many film guy aficionados, right?
Probably not. I've heard they got some banging restaurants though. So
Oh, I've done been taking notes over
you
here.
should probably honestly put something up on Twitter. Be like, yo, I'm gonna be in Birmingham. Where should I eat?
I already saw some suggestions in the YouTube comments, and I took a picture.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Word up. You talking about for Auburn or for Birmingham?
Both.
For Birmingham.
Well, you're not going to Birmingham with me.
I thought that's what we were saying. Guess
Isn't that
we're
where
gonna talk
the-
about that after.
Oh.
We talked about going to another high school football game in Birmingham.
Oh, you want to do double up?
Well, but
Might
that's
as
just
well.
what we talked about before the show.
I mean, I'm fine with it. Yeah,
We'll figure that
we'll
out.
spend 2 nights in Birmingham. I don't care. Ramsey's a good football team. Ramsey and Auburn. We're gonna watch Clay Chalkville Thompson tomorrow, and then maybe Ramsey and Auburn
We'll see what
on
happens.
Friday. Hey, who knows? I mean, it's just all kinds of shit going on in this world of ours right now. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, and rate and review, and all that good stuff. That Dabo quote's nuts, but that's a fact. Again, stone cold lie. Every single time. I'm 6'2". That's a fact. 6'1.5".
I'm standing on my tippy toes away from being 6'2".
Yeah.
That's all it is. That's what he's saying basically.
Yeah.
It's like
3 plays.
What if Duke beats Notre Dame?
What if? What would happen?
Are we pegging them in the same tier as Florida State at that point?
That's a great question.
ooh. I didn't think from the Duke standpoint what the
They would have the
repercussions
2
of
best
that game
wins.
would be.
Well, they're both at home.
Still.
2 top 10 wins, because Clemson was a top 10 football team that night, weren't
Yep.
they?
Yeah.
Wasn't it 9 versus 17 or something like that?
No,
yeah.
Duke wasn't even
Duke was
ranked, I don't
unranked.
think.
I don't think
Yeah.
Duke, I don't think Duke was ranked.
What is Duke ranked right now? Like 14th?
17th?
That's proper ranking for Elko and them boys.
I didn't even think about that. That's a good one.
It's a really good one.
What if?
I got one for you. Where are my notes? I had one. Give me 1 second. I swear to God I typed it out. Oh, are we too early in the season to be talking hot seats?
No.
No.
No. Because what if Texas A&M like handles Arkansas at home this weekend?
That's what I was saying. I think I said a while ago, like, this might be like Sam Pittman's in trouble.
I'm talking about like 21 points at home. What if A&M just lays it on them? And guess what? They got a bye week next week.
That's what
And if you're ever going to fire a coach in season, which again, this is preposterous. You think it's preposterous. But dude, if they're 2-3, they get throttled. I'm talking, again, handled. 21 points. It doesn't even matter if it's 14 points late score, it doesn't matter. They get handled and it looks ugly against this Texas A&M football team. Bye week next week, okay? You're 2-3 going into your bye, all right? And then coming back from your bye week, you know what you got? You got Ole Miss and Alabama coming up.
yeah.
So you could be easily staring down 2-5, okay, 7 games into a football season. At that point, you're a dead man walking anyways, right?
I think this is more at its worst. This is the season where Arkansas fans go, "Wait a minute, we don't want Sam Pittman anymore," because it's always been like, we love Sam Pittman. He's our guy.
Yeah.
He's brought us back to relevance at least. Look at how we were 5 years ago. I mean, that was a bad program. So I think the kind of aura around Sam Pittman is that he's Arkansas's coach. But if you're 2-5 in week 7, they're going to turn on you very quickly. I don't think he gets fired, but I think they turn on him.
This is where I'm new to this in terms of like gauging other fan bases.
Yeah.
I know that Auburn's irrational. I know that South Carolina's irrational. I know that LSU can be like this at times, but they win a lot. But like some programs are very content. Ole Miss doesn't seem like one of these. Ole Miss doesn't run people out for 8-5 seasons perennially. Missouri seems relatively stable. Unless you're awful, like Odom was towards the end, they don't run you out.
When you aren't winning any SEC games whatsoever,
Like you're only beating Vandy, you got to go at that point up at there. But if you're mediocre, mediocrity flies at a lot of these places. But like, and it should, by the way, okay. It should, but like, is Arkansas one of these fan bases that think they can go out and get a premier head coach to come coach their program?
I don't think so. I think what Arkansas wants is like what you say, 8-5. Just be good enough. Be the spoiler one time.
And let's be honest, they're not that. They're not that right now.
No, they're not.
And they weren't that. Were they that last year?
They could have
7-5-ish last year.
They could have been that last year. I think they dropped a couple of games where you're like, wow, you had that one, you fumbled the bag.
Arkansas is that team where, for me at least, where you feel like they can be competitive with majority of teams SEC. Like, not necessarily beat everybody in the SEC, but like most teams, they could probably be competitive with them. And like
Maybe.
1 week they're going to lose by 30 to Alabama, and the next week they're going to be in a fist fight with LSU. Like, that's the type of program that Arkansas is. And then
Maybe that's the litmus test for Arkansas's head coaches. You better be competitive.
Yeah.
You don't have to be 8-5 every year, but your ass better be competitive because everybody can't be 8-5.
get us a signature win in.
Get us a signature win.
Yeah. I think, and if you're not doing that, I think that's when they're going to run
Because
you out.
it isn't even like Ole Miss's job is predicated off of do you beat Mississippi State and are you competitive? Arkansas doesn't even have one of those. They don't expect you to beat LSU. They don't. They expect you to play them tight, but they don't expect you to go in there and win.
I just want one game that gives them a reason to drink a shit ton of beer after.
I worry about it. If it's ugly this weekend, because that's the thing. Again, it's
sure.
competitiveness. All you have to do is be competitive. What else we got for what if?
So I've got, what if Colorado gets into a shootout with USC?
Very plausible.
I think it's likely to happen, and I think the national media is going to be, they never got off Deion Sanders, but they're going to double down on it now.
They never got off?
They never got
I
off.
think the national media's been getting off. Dude.
National media.
They've been getting the hell off.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you that right now. Dude, they talk about college football on ESPN. When's the last time First Take's out here talking about college football? The Tebow days? Maybe?
They'll do like a
Cam
5-minute
Newton?
segment for like natty games and stuff like that. But
I mean, shit. Week 3? We talking about the Buffaloes on ESPN? Shit ain't never happened.
I think
ESPN been getting off, dog.
I think the media scene will get very ugly if Colorado even loses by 10 points.
Yes.
Double digits, and I think it still gets ugly. So.
I think the big money's just rolling in. I would imagine. Smart money's probably rolling in on USC to cover. National money's probably rolling in on Colorado. What are you giggling about?
No.
Getting off?
No.
No, okay.
I haven't seen Jay Will giggle this much before.
Bro, he had a vein through the middle of his forehead. He was laughing so hard. It was good stuff.
Anyways,
it was a good chuckle.
business
I think we've laughed tonight harder than we have in a long time, and I think that's a key to this being really, really good.
Yeah, it's got to be.
I like to laugh when I do my work, boys. So I appreciate the chuckles tonight. And I hope the audience.
It's a good way to end the day.
Yeah.
Get down to the tail end of your day every time.
No doubt.
What if Utah beats Oregon State on Saturday? They start
play
the season 5-0 with their
Friday.
backup quarterback. Are they a top 5 team with Cam Rising?
Ooh. Well, so here's the deal. I like Cam Rising. Friday night, by the way. I like Cam Rising.
Oh, yeah, Friday night.
And I've watched Cam Rising a lot. I've studied Cam Rising because I don't get it. It's perplexing to me.
Yeah.
Boy, he is a naff. I mean, he is a non-athletic fuck. I mean, holy shit. Guys, bro, watch him. Watch him play football. He has lumbersome. It's no twitch, not an ounce of twitch in that body at all. Like, at all. The only position he can play at that athleticism is quarterback.
He runs like he has skinny jeans on.
He runs like it hurts.
It's like it hurts.
I mean, dead ass.
It probably does hurt.
Fuck yeah, at this point it does.
That dude takes some beatings.
He runs like it hurts is good.
Someone used to tell me I run like a folding lawn chair. I don't even know what that meant, but it did sound good.
That's disrespectful.
Yeah, it's
That's all
hella
I know.
disrespectful. I had heard a lot of them like, you run like you got a piano on your back. Or the notorious one for a fat kid, you run like you got the whole refrigerator on your back. But the moment I got told you run like a folding lawn chair, I was like, oh, bro, I got to go see a speed trainer. This is bad.
That's tough.
That's tough. That's toof. That's toof. What else? Where were we at?
I got one.
You got one?
What if Tennessee not only beats South Carolina Saturday, but dominates them? Like dominates them like, hold my pocket and give me kisses dominates.
Hold your prison. Gotcha. No, I think it would be payback. That would be the national narratives by they got him back for the 63 to 62 to 35. I remember, weren't we on the road watching that?
We were in
Kentucky.
We were in the hotel watching.
We were in the hotel watching that game and going, God dang,
Yeah.
dude, they are getting throttled.
Would it put people back in, kind of buying back in for Tennessee?
Milton needs one of these, dude.
He does.
I know he's banged up, but He better get something. They got to get some momentum. That fan base is not one of these to sit by when there's a
That
five-star
was
on the
my
sideline.
what if. Mine was, what if Tennessee lays an egg? What is the Tennessee's fans' reaction to this? Like, what's the vibe up in Knoxville if they lose this game too? I mean, you lose to both Florida and you lose to South Carolina. Those are two games that you thought for a fact before the season started that you thought you should without a doubt win, and you lose both of them. What's the vibe in Knoxville at that point?
Yeah, it's probably Tennessee is a weird fan base because they go from 0 to 100 so quickly, and they go from 100 to 0 just as quickly.
Turn me up, son.
They will be fire Josh Heupel tomorrow if they lose to South Carolina by double digits. It's weird. Like they're that kind of fan base. Like I know people give Georgia a lot of shit for being similar to that, but Tennessee fans are that times 10.
All right, we have a bunch of football games that we got to get opinions on and final predictions on because we're not going to be here tomorrow.
Did we not do that yesterday? Or
We did, but kind of not really. I'm talking about put a bow on it because I got some additional thoughts. One of which is on our favorite game of the slate. I think it's a good way to put a bow on things because I think we're talking about big games, aren't we? I got a big one. You got a big one?
I've got a favorite game. Yeah.
Is it a big one,
I
or is
mean,
it like off the slate?
No, it's pretty big.
Okay, you got a big one?
Eh, not really.
Dang.
My bad.
Little one.
I'm sorry.
Medium one. Big one.
Yeah.
All right. Next time we do something like this, and you got to love up on the slate, and you got to pick a big one.
So like when I was looking at the slate and when you proposed this topic, I was looking at games and I was like, if I talk about this game, it's not going to sound like I'm actually interested in it, and it's not actually going to be my favorite game.
Okay.
So
Okay, hold on. Before you do that, I want to give the audience. I like to peel back the curtain sometimes. We don't get time to do show notes together. I mean, only on Mondays, right?
Mondays and Thursdays.
Mondays and Thursdays, we get to sit in here and kind of like, hey, I'm going to steer it this way. The two shows in between during the week, I blindside the shit out of these dudes the whole time. I'm like, hey, we're just texting while, I'm either sitting in Athens or sitting at a red light, and I'm like, I want this done this way, and then we just go, right? And this is a classic example of one of those. So yeah, let's love up on the slate. I'll give you my favorite one of the week. I absolutely love this Kansas and Texas game. I'm going to be glued to it. First of all, I was doing a little digging today because I truly do believe Lance Leipold is a great football coach, okay? Particularly on the offensive side of the football game, or offensive side of the football, and they play damn good football, all right? And he's a damn good football coach. What does that mean for Texas? Well, it means that opponents, week in and week out, when they play Kansas, you're in for a four-quarter football game. And most importantly, you're in for a four-quarter football game in which you have to score points. Okay? Kansas, this is crazy. This is probably one of the craziest stats I think we've had on the show in recent time. Okay? Kansas lost 7 football games last year. They're 4-0 this year. They lost 7 games last year. In those 7 games, they scored 31 points per.
Jesus.
If you beat Kansas, you got to score 32 points. All right? If you're scoring 32 points per game, I think you're like 35th in the country in points per game.
Boy, if that ain't 2013 Georgia in a nutshell.
Yeah? That's how it was back in the day. Mm-hmm. Y'all was just putting it up. Shouts
Defense
out.
couldn't do nothing.
They had a bad defense back in the day. I remember that.
But no, Kansas out here just punching it out for 4 quarters. They're going to put it up, all right? So I think this is a football game in which even if Texas wins, it's a sweater. Like, you're like, damn, Texas had to put up 48 today just to get out?
No, you texted, stay away from Kansas, Texas. So I was like, damn. But that is one of these Saturday games that I'm really excited to see.
You're loving it.
Especially because I think Texas is a little overrated. And didn't I say I adopted Kansas this year?
You did.
They're my team. They're my
Anybody
team.
who's out here running 2 quarterback systems on the same play, I'm with you. Have y'all seen that?
Yeah.
You have it?
No.
Oh, I got to draw this concept up. Do we have? We don't have the pen
I can get
available.
it for
We can
you
get it
without
available.
the pen.
This is pretty dope. So obviously they have 2 relatively mobile quarterbacks and 2 relatively athletic quarterbacks. Okay, both of which who can run and throw. So how do they do this? Well, they put one guy at quarterback and they put the other guy. Let me know when you get it. There it is.
It's coming.
They put the other guy at running back right next to him. They put the starter at running back, and they put the backup at the actual quarterback position. And then they run some type of, it's essentially play action rollout out of it. But here's how it looks, right? Here's the offensive line. They take the quarterback, and then the secondary quarterback, and whatever else is out here is all window dressing. But I've seen them run a lot of smash concepts with it and a lot of deep overs with it. But what they do is they run jet motion right here and then give it to the quarterback like he's about to run wide zone this way, and then they naked boot him back out this way. So as a defensive player, right, and one of these quarterbacks wears 6, and he's just standing there with his hands on his thighs, so you can't really see him unless you're paying attention to him. Next thing you know, he's taking a wide zone handoff and then wrapping your ass back on a naked boot, okay, somebody who you think is a running back. So, yeah, they've been running a little 2 quarterback systems, trying to sneak it in on teams every once in a while. I love watching Kansas play. I love what Lance Leipold does as an offensive mind. And, again, he's one of those coordinators. There's a lot of them. Lincoln Riley's one of them. This guy's one of them. Unfortunately, all of the Bryles boys have been one of these. Mm-hmm. Every time I watch them, I'm like, damn, that's sexy. Yeah. What that dude just did right there, that is hot.
Yeah.
And Leipold's definitely one of those. So I'm excited for that game this weekend.
Do you want to give yours, Jay, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, I'll go with mine.
The game off the record that you're just loving up on. You're super passionate about this
insane. It is a little obscure, maybe a little bias inserted in this game.
Okay.
But it is Syracuse and Clemson for me. And I'm interested in it because if Syracuse does win this game, I think the ACC is better than what we thought it was, because at that point now you have Syracuse looks legit, Miami looks like a contender, Duke, depending on what happens on Saturday, that could be a contender, Florida State.
Yeah.
That's a lot of teams in the mix without Clemson.
How much worse is is the SEC like the 3rd best conference this year?
They might be, honestly.
After this weekend.
Maybe 4th? The Big Ten's not deep enough. The Big Ten's very SEC-ish this year,
sure.
It feels like.
And then also on top of that, depending on what Clemson does on Saturday, if they win, obviously maybe that gets you back on track. If you need to finish out strong, see if they can close out on a season that already doesn't look very promising. But on the flip side, you lose this game, you start 2-3 under Dabo. You want to talk about seats that might getting a little hot?
No, that guy gets to retire when he wants. They don't fire a guy like that.
I mean, they didn't do it with Bowden.
I feel like when you win like this, you get Mac Brown treatment. You just get to stick around as long as you want.
I guess.
And then we kind of rudely send you out. It was like, is it a retirement? Yeah, kind of. Not really. What do you got?
So mine's my favorite game for a different reason. It's a big game. It's a top 25 matchup.
Massive.
But Friday night football, college football, and Friday nights, the games have always been kind of like, at least it's football. Like, it's college football, but it's not really a game I would care about either way. Oregon State-Utah is a big game that has a lot of ramifications in the Pac-12. That's an exciting game, and I can't wait to watch it on a Friday night. That's what
Pac-12, Friday Night Football, and I have a very, very unique relationship. Mm-hmm. And I know if you play college football, you have one with this as well. When you travel on road games, you ain't got shit to do on Friday nights. They sit you in the hotel and they make you stay there. And all this on normally is Pac-12 After Dark on Friday nights. I got introduced to Alex Grinch this way. I was mystified by him. It's the only good seasons he's ever really had was when he was up at Washington State. And for some reason, Wazoo got scheduled like 3 times on a Friday night one season. And I just remember watching him. And the reason I know it's Alex Grinch is because he started moving the defensive line like Georgia does and drawing a lot of false starts on the road even. And I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And then I look him up. It's Alex Grinch. Next thing I know, he's at Ohio State. Next thing I know, he's getting dubbed at Oklahoma. Because you know what? Dude ain't changed in six years. Dude ain't changed since I've been in college football. So is what it seems like. So anyways, yeah, Pac-12 After Dark on Friday night is going to be a good time.
You're just excited because it's Flex Friday.
I mean, definitely I'm Flex Friday, and I'm Flex Fridaying the hell out of that game. But it is a top 25 matchup on a Friday night. How often do we get that?
Well, when you do tomorrow, make sure you're using promo code Brooks on Prize Picks for that Flex Friday.
Look at
I
us,
couldn't
dude.
have
Look
said
at
it
us.
better myself. Hey, we'll be out in Birmingham tomorrow. Love you. See you on Monday.